Everybody, welcome, welcome. Welcome. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful day, and I want to welcome you to the Aunty Spiceword Literary Festival. I'd also like to apologize for the late start to the viewers online and to the viewers right here with us live. We are all live because of COVID, things take a little longer to get going. As you can see, I'm wearing my mask, and this is very important that we all wear a mask. And because I'm 6 feet away, I can now take it off because I'm all by myself in my own little space. So my name is Ricardo Keynes Douglas, and I'll be your host for the next half an hour to an hour or so. And on behalf of the Grenada Cultural Foundation and our CEO, Sherman Wells, we wish you all the best and a happy festival. Now, folk tales are something that we all grew up with. We all know our grandparents always had a tale to tell you about Sukuyan or Legarou or Bre Nancy or Laja Bless, all these wonderful stories. So the theme of the festival, which is about 4 days long, I think this is the 3 days, which is our second day so far, yes, is the folk tales is the theme. And so I know you all listening right now, you have lots of folk tale stories to tell. And the nice thing about folk tales and storytelling is that you can pass it on. In today's society where we have so much technology, where we're bombarded by the TV and stuff, there's very little contact. And especially now with COVID, nobody wants to hug or shake hands anymore. But this is a great opportunity for you to share with your children and your grandchildren, of when growing up when you were a young boy or a young girl, I remember my mom and dad used to tell me tons of stories about, my dad used to tell me when he first dated my mom, going back in the olden days, and he used to go out on a moonlight night, and my mom would be in her bedroom, and he would take the little stones and throw it and hit the window. And she'll poke her head out the window, and they would chat. And those are great stories to pass on, or, just wonderful stories. So it's very important for you, mums and dads, grandparents, to pass things on to your children, because that's what we have. And connecting is one of the greatest things in a family. When you sit around the dinner table, or you sit on the veranda outside and you all talk. And young ones, ask your mom and dad, say, Mommy, tell me about when I was born. What happened, Tell me the first time that, you met my dad, things like that. So always remember, folk tales are incredible. Now, what's important also is that we have to, Aunty Tech Festival is a wonderful, wonderful festival where we showcase our local talent. Now, I don't know if you know who Aunty Tech was. She's one of the icons of storytelling, Thelma Phillips. Everybody remember Thelma Phillips. She's one of the a really wonderful storyteller. She's passed on now, and in honor of her, the literary festival, is named after her. And she was a storyteller. You used to just be on TV. She used to be in schools. She was a warm person. And whenever she came out to tell stories, she would always dressed in her wonderful Grenadian garb, the wonderful, island garb of her national dress. So she always looked really spectacular, and she represented Grenada. She was a spice lady, So it's named after Aunty Tech, and storytelling is something that we keep. Now, the festival is a way of promoting and showcasing our local poets, our local authors, even our illustrators, because we write a lot of children's books as well, and a lot of Grenadians don't know that we have a lot of children's authors in Grenada, also children's illustrators for books. So this encompasses everything in dealing with literature. So this is an opportunity for the young folks who are listening right now. If you'd like to be a writer, if you'd like to be an illustrator, a poet, this is an opportunity for you to sit back and enjoy and relax and enjoy the stories. Also, parents, you might see one of your kids might have a knack for writing poetry, writing poems, so encourage it. Because when I was like 10, 15 years, 10 years, 12 years old, all I wanted to do was write. perform, act, perform, be on the stage. I never wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or, or an engineer. My dad was an engineer, but they never forced me to be something I didn't want to be. So it's very important to know your child and don't force your children to be something they don't want to be. So you have to know what they love in life and encourage it, and support it. And that's why today, I, as a writer and a playwright and an actor, I am happy because I am doing what I love to do. And I knew what I wanted to do since I was a kid, and I had wonderful parents who encouraged me, who says, this is what you love to do, go do it. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aunty Tech Spiceword Festival. And bring it on with me right now. As you know, I'm having my mask right here, so please remember to wear your masks. It's very important, okay? I'm bringing on a Grenadian author. His name is, let's have it right here, Mr. Ambrose, David Ambrose. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for David Ambrose. And since David and I are 6 feet away, it is quite normal, so we can share, we can take our masks off if you wish.
Thank you, Ricky.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, as a matter of fact.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks for having me.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell the world a little bit about yourself, David.
Okay, so my name is David Ambrose, but I write using the pen name D.E. Ambrose. I actually found there was another David Ambrose who writes, so I didn't want to use his profile to market myself. But I am Grenadian by birth. I attended school in Grenada. I attended college in the United States, and well, after that, higher education also in the United States. I am an educator by profession. I started my teaching profession by teaching at the Grenada Boys Secondary School.
Yeah.
And later on,
GBSS.
GBSS. I moved to a private school after that.
Right.
And after the private school, I moved to TAMCC in 2008. So I'm currently at TAMCC. I'm a lecturer at TAMCC.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
And I teach mainly communication studies, but I do some foreign languages as well.
Okay.
And I am currently the chair of the Department of Arts, Humanities, and General Studies at TAMCC.
So growing up, were you involved in any like folk tales, or do you remember any tales that your parents, told you or stuff?
Yes, I don't want to say it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But well, my mom is from Carriacou.
Okay.
So there are a lot of tales coming out of Carriacou. And so she would, I recall she would tell us quite a bit of folk tales. And, she would have us just wrapped up in her tales.
Yeah, yeah.
Just sitting there, forget about everything else, look at mom. Maybe we were listening to her at night. And back then,
what kind of tales would come out of Carriacou compared to Grenada? I mean, I don't know if growing up in Carriacou they had tales like Laja Bless and Sukunya, were they?
Yeah,
or does Carriacou have their own characters?
They have their own characters, yeah. I grew up down here, but of course, she would pass on what her parents told her.
Like,
and perhaps
example, like...
So, there were some tales about the Ligaroo, for example.
Right.
And sometimes we found it hard to believe, of course. My sister and I would be staring at each other, wondering, is that true? What? Of Ligaroo flying at night. If we want to prevent, if somebody wants to prevent a Ligaroo from entering the house, perhaps, in fact, put some sand in front of the front of the door. And there's no way the Ligaroo could enter without counting every single grain of sand.
That's right.
And
the reason for that is because they have to be back inside
before daylight.
Before the sun comes up, right?
Comes up. Yes.
So to count sand, it will take a little while.
It'll take a while, yeah. So there are a lot of those kinds of stories. And like you alluded a few minutes ago, the spirit world, I suppose, in Carriacou is a big thing,
Right.
Always dealing with the ancestors,
right?
Respect for the ancestors, and all of the things that go with that.
Right, because you in Carriacou deal a little bit with the tombstone, which we don't do very much in Grenada. Correct. So tell me a little bit about that. What is like?
A couple years after a family member has died, you know, the relatives would get together and build a tombstone.
Right.
And they would erect that headstone on the tomb, build a tomb, erect a headstone on the tomb. And there's a lot of fanfare, so to speak, surrounding that, including a big fete.
Okay, okay.
Lots of food and things. I had an aunt who died in 2020, a few years ago. And the family, my cousins, erected her headstone, or the headstone, over her grave. In fact, she was buried next to her husband and her son and her daughter. A few of them passed on over the years. And they erected the stone last year. And a massive thing, man. Big feast. And I missed it. My cousins called, hey, man, you missed that, man. Real food, boy, real food.
Because in Grenada, we don't do that.
No.
It's a Karakou thing. I mean, the only thing we have in Grenada is, I mean, if you're Catholic or Christian, is that the All Saints. All Saints is a big thing in Grenada, which is the 1st of November, and you go to the graves, and you sit around the graves, and you light candles, and you reminisce. You know, you can reminisce about the person who has passed on, tell stories. Friends will come by and sit around the grave and talk. Some people would say prayers, some people would sing songs. And Asham.
Asham is a big thing.
Asham is the...
Yes. Yeah, I was in a supermarket yesterday, and I saw Asham on the shelf. I was tempted to buy one, but...
But once you see Asham, you know it's All Saints.
Yes,
I remember as kids too, used to be so wicked. You used to have Asham, but you put sand.
Yeah, because it looked just like
just like Asham. So you say, hey, calling your friends, hey, you want some Asham? And they say, yeah. And then you put sand in it, you know, and you pour sand into their hand because it's dark.
Right.
And they taste it. But that's all fun. That's just, genuine fun.
Yes.
So as a young person, were you into writing?
Yes, I could recall in primary school doing a composition that my English teacher had asked us to do, and I attended the Lincoln Miss Batty School on Lucas Street, and I wrote this thing, man, about maybe I think it was the life of a fish or something like that. See me writing and stuff. I even wrote about when the fish was in the frying pan and. So she said, how could you, the fish is dead already. You can't go that far. But I always loved writing.
Okay.
And then I guess I took it a step further in secondary schools. And a lot of us boys at GBSS, and I attended school when girls were there as well. A lot of us boys, we emulated obviously the books that we used to read.
Right.
And we used to read a lot of American type books.
Right.
The adventurous stories.
Yeah.
The Hardy Boys.
Yes.
Later on, I suppose we graduated into the Mac Bolans and those kinds of genres. I even got into, when I was in Form 2, I think I read my first Tom Clancy novel. A really fat book. And after that, man, Tom Clancy all the time. So I started emulating those kinds of stories, that genre.
Right.
And in fact, that's how I got into my first book. Which was White Spice.
Okay, White Spice, that's right, yeah.
White Spice is a crime thriller, and it's set in Grenada.
Okay.
Also, I published that one in 2015. And in 2018, that's when I published Bogles. As we were talking about the tombstone and the stone feast and stuff, I dedicated a chapter in this book on that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So in fact, I'll read a sample from that.
Excellent.
That's what I selected even before you started speaking.
White Spice is, what's it briefly? You said it's a thriller?
It's a thriller. It's a crime thriller set in Grenada. And it's fictitious.
Okay, yes.
When I published it, at least it was fictitious when I published it. But it focuses on a fictitious drug squad, and it follows investigations that deals with the cocaine trafficking business in Grenada and around Grenada.
And that's a lot happening now. Yeah.
So it's all a figment of my imagination when I wrote it, and in fact, afterwards people would read it and say, hey, is this true or what?
Yeah.
No, I imagine these things.
Yeah, because many times art, they say art imitates life.
Exactly.
Life imitates art,
Yes. So that's
and that, you see, that's a wonderful thing of the imagination. with a writer, because you can go anywhere with your imagination.
Anywhere.
And you can take your audience with you.
That's true.
And if it's really fantastic in the sense of you connecting with your audience, they travel with you. And that's the magic of reading, because to me, watching TV constantly is a passive way of living, because you sit and the TV gives you everything. You don't have to think, you don't have to. But once you start reading a book, and you start painting the images and the characters, and you in your mind as a reader, you start picturing this place you're talking about and this character. That's why, I think, like storytelling and book reading is so wonderful. And
yes. And so I always wish more young people would read.
Yeah.
Because that would definitely help with their imagination. It would definitely help with the writing.
Right.
As well as with the critical thinking.
Yeah.
So that is something that we have to continue to encourage our young people to do.
Right.
To read.
Okay, so this book, which is what a Caracou Tale.
Yeah, that time in Bogus.
So what is this about? This is the one.
Yes.
This is a Caracou Tale. I don't know if you can camera a Caracou Tale. This is.
And the cover was done by a TAMCC lecturer, Andrea McLeod. She's the art and design lecturer at TAMCC.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. The cover for White Spice is also an original painting done by Prince Nello.
Okay.
And these are Haitian Grenadian artists.
Right. It's very important. I want people to know and appreciate Grenadian authors, and poets. And we don't know it, and we tend to read a lot of. We know all the other people in the region and stuff, and we need to understand. To know who we are as Grenadian authors.
Yeah, we have a lot of talent in Grenada.
Yeah.
A lot of writers, in fact. A lot of graphic artists, a lot of artists.
The graphic art, the youth are coming up now, incredible with the graphics and stuff, Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the book. You're going to read something.
Bogus is set in Caracou.
Right.
In the village of Bogus. Bogus is where my mom is from. So I decided to write a story to honor her. And so I wanted to talk about the culture and lifestyle of the people of Caracou, but I needed to set it in a village.
Okay.
So I chose Bogus. And it follows a boy, a Grenadian boy who goes up to spend the Easter break in Caracou.
Okay.
I think he was in Form 1 or Form 2. So it's a 2-week break, so he goes to spend that time in Caracou. He didn't want to go. Who wants to go to Caracou? And this is in the 80s, eh? So it was at a time when travel to Caracou was quite challenging.
Right.
It's not like today when you jump on a fast ferry and you get there in 90 minutes. Yeah. Takes you the whole day.
And now you have a plane to go to Caracou.
20 minutes. So the boy goes up reluctantly. He spends time with his cousins in Bogus. Eventually he starts to enjoy it. He's with his cousins. Eventually he's going to forget about, hey, I didn't want to come on this trip. Forget about the bad sea and stuff. I'm in Caracou. It's Easter break. A lot of things are happening. Kites, plum, mangoes. Plus there was some festivities that he got involved in as well.
Okay, great. So you want to read something? Take your time. Make yourself comfortable. There's some water on the side there if you wish to have a sip. Okay.
I might do that before I read, in fact. Yeah?
Exactly. I know what it's like.
Yes. And even while I open a bottle, my third book is a short story that I published last year.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ambrose, David Ambrose, gets ready. He's going to be reading from his book, Caracou Tale, a Caracou Tale.
That time in Bogus, a Caracou Tale. I'm going to read from the chapter called Stone Feast.
A camera is that way,
So I'm going to pick it up where the people are returning to the family compound, and it is a stone feast for Tantan's brother. Tantan brother, he died a couple of years before, so it's a big thing. A procession led by Tantan and Aunty Margaret carried containers of food from each pot to a specially prepared table inside the hall. That food was dedicated to the spirits of the ancestors and would remain untouched until the next day. Daniel almost cried as he saw bowls of provision, dumplings, roll rice, and various types of meat go to waste. But he didn't mind them leaving cuckoo for the spirits. Tantan gave a short speech. Then the feasting began. Daniel and the boys ate so much food that they could hardly walk after the third helping. All the guests ate as if they expected a famine to start in Karakou the next day. A group of men parked themselves close to the pot of fish broth. The Grenadian boys sampled every type of meat and downed a glass of juice with each round of food. Kopai, Tanti does make the best lime juice, he commented. What she does put in that juice, boy? Elijah shrugged. It's just lime and brown sugar. She does put vanilla essence in it too. I feel it's the essence that make the difference. Danny's eyes zoomed in on Tanti in a long white dress, greeting people in the front yard. He couldn't figure out why 3 other ladies chose to wear the same type of white dress as his aunt. Follow fashion. The boys finished eating in silence, and Elisha unhooked the top button of his pants. Whoa, Isha, your belly get big, we? Daniel exclaimed. Elisha smiled wryly. All the boys were exhausted. Daniel felt he had eaten too much. He tried not to think about going to the latrine tonight. He imagined himself walking between the plum trees in the dark with a lantern and meeting rats and bugs in the outhouse. Besides, a big serpent lurked on that side of the house. And some big frogs usually come out at night. The last thing he wanted to do was to step on a giant crapaud. He decided he would hit the pit before the sun set, otherwise he would wait until next day. Daniel suddenly leapt up from his seat on the ground. Elisha jumped up as well. Hands bite you or what? He brushed his bottom with the back of his hand. That is the tune, Dread, Daniel yelled as Ras cassette mix started a new song. Men and women around the yard who were seated stood up to rock, skank, and step to the infectious bass line of the reggae rhythm. Police and thieves in the streets, oh yeah. A chorus of voice rang out. Men and boys even tried to imitate the high-pitched voice of the male vocalist. A brisk breeze carried the music around the village and even as far away as Cherry Hill to the southeast. Ras, you have the place locked down with that music, Bamboo complimented the DJ. After the popular reggae song faded, Daniel inserted a soca tape and let it play for 10 minutes. Even the senior ladies got up to shake their behinds to Lord Kitchener's Sugar Boom Boom. A string band then took over the entertainment, and the merry atmosphere in the village went up a notch as 2 guitars, a banjo, and a violin called out to every home in Bogles and surrounding communities to dispatch its occupants to the Peters yard. Daniel and Elijah moved closer to the action. Elisha disappeared inside the house. Jack, look, we cousin playing banjo. Daniel pointed out the tall man with the afro. Godwin on a high, boy. With eyes closed, Godwin rotated his head swiftly in time with the fast breakaway rhythm that his band strummed. The wind had picked up now, and Masanto and ordinary lanterns around the yard cast eerie dancing shadows in the dusk. Everybody in the yard was transformed into a dancing machine. That is the best banjo man in Karakou, Elijah stated. Listen to that banjo talk now. Several minutes later, drums replaced the stringed instruments and the crowd rearranged itself to form a circle facing inward. Tantan, Con Cheryl, and 2 other Bogles elders danced to the center of the ring with bottles. They're going and wet the ground again, Daniel said confidently. Kopai, you're getting to know the thing, Elijah said, grinning. The foursome poured rum and water alternately on the ground, uttering words that Daniel still couldn't understand. He deduced that they were again calling out to the ancestors and spirits. Tanti and them coming and dance now. Elijah announced after the invocations. Aunty and 3 middle-aged women gambled bare feet to the center of the yard to the slow beat of the drums. Daniel was surprised to see Elisha among the 3 drummers. His open palms struck the goatskin surface of his bass drum in perfect sync with the other bass drummer. Rose and another girl shook shak-shaks energetically to the established rhythm. Long shall play in the bula drum, man, Elijah said to his cousin. Sometimes I just play the cutter drum too. He pointed to the largest drum in the middle of the trio. Aunty looked even taller with her green and yellow head wrap. A multicolored winged skirt covered the bottom half of her dress. The floral pattern of the skirt reminded Daniel of the red, pink, and purple bougainvillea flowers around his house in Grenada. All 4 ladies wore matching costumes. Soon, the intensity of the drumming increased. A few ladies standing behind the drummers clapped and chanted as the dancers stepped, skipped, and strutted for a few minutes in the ring. The choreographed dancing and rhythmic drumming hypnotized Daniel until he thought he was in a trance. One singer would throw out a line, then the others in the group would respond in a chorus. Their language was unfamiliar to Daniel. He made a mental note to ask his mother if kayaks speak other languages besides English. Then Aunty was left alone to do a solo act. She took up a spot in front of Elisha, who pounded his drum while focusing on his mother's feet. The bass seemed to reach out on its own to move them. "Whoa," Daniel exclaimed, "that's sick, boy." He nodded in approval, and his eyes bulged as they fixed on his aunt's feet, moving in perfect cadence to her son's drumming. Aunty flared her skirt as she skipped from right foot to left, revealing its shiny red inner fabric. At times, her upper body hung parallel to the ground before she would rock back upright to the boom of the bula. She shimmied and shook her hips and head in quick time to the drumming. A roar went up from the audience as a slim figure twirled 6 times while the drumming rose to a crescendo. She suddenly leapt in the air, then dropped to a crouched position in the center of the circle, her head bowed. The drums fell silent. The spectators erupted in cheers, applause, and whistles. "Kopai, that is the best big drum dancing I ever see," Daniel said, breathing heavily. He had never seen big drum dancing in his life.
Whoa, hey.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I experienced big drum once, not a few times, but in Maroon Festival.
Right.
I used to go to Carriacou a lot for the Maroon Festival, which I think is just fantastic.
I went up for that last year.
Yeah, well.
It's real, but that moves you, huh?
Yes, yes.
it moves you.
Well, thank you so much, David. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
David Ambrose from his book reading, A Carriacou Tale. So go get it. It's out there. And you have here for sale? Yeah, he has here for sale if anybody wishes to take. Okay, at this point, we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you. See you soon.
COVID-19 is a serious health threat. When you touch things like gas pumps, door handles, or someone else's cell phone, you can spread the virus, even if you don't have symptoms. Don't put lives at risk. Wash your hands.
We've been apart for a short while, but now the time has come when you can join us again in our little slice of paradise. Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique has always provided a relaxing, rejuvenating, and authentic experience, and that hasn't changed. You can look forward to the same amazing experience while we strengthen our already high health protocols to give you peace of mind while you are with us. So come visit us. We await you with open hearts and spirits, filled with that warm, unique Grenadian hospitality. Rediscover an island filled with adventure, charm, and magic. pure Grenada, just for you.
COVID-19 is a serious health threat. When you touch things like gas pumps, door handles, or someone else's cell phone, you can spread the virus, even if you don't have symptoms. Don't put lives at risk. Wash your hands. Stay 2 meters apart. That's a distance of 2 arms lengths. And if you're sick, stay home to save lives.
Hello and welcome back to Aunty Tech's Spiceword Festival. And with me right now I have a guest, and his name is Ruben Mains, that's right. And he is the owner, manager of Art and Soul Bookstore. And we chat a little bit about the Art and Soul Bookstore because, as you know, today bookstores are really, really rare to find in Grenada. And not only in Grenada, but around the world with all the high tech and the Kindle and the stuff like that. It's really, really wonderful when there is a bookstore available where you could actually go into the bookstore and actually feel a book and touch a book and read a book. So I'm really, really happy. This is a really happy moment for me, being an author, that there are books available. So welcome, Mr. Mains. Ruben, you have to put the mic up closer, right? Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
So tell me a little bit about Art and Soul in the first place.
All right. Well, we have been here for 18 years in
Right.
Spiceland Mall. And of course, the main reason is just as you were saying, it's so that people who live on an island like Grenada can have access to books directly. They don't have to be looking online and seeing how they can try and get the thing to come down and so on.
Right.
So really, we're there as a service to the country. We have over 60 books by Grenadian authors.
Wonderful.
A lot of times people are surprised that there are so many. Of course, it's a lot easier today than it used to be to
publish a book.
to publish.
Yeah.
But a lot of times what people want to know is either what is best-selling or what you have that is new. And so I brought a few. And Ricardo, I'm happy to say.
This was not planned. This is
No, but seriously, because of course, over the years, we've always had this. And this has been the #1 best-selling children's book of any author from any country.
Oh, okay.
That's
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
And one reason why is because when Grenadians who live away come back to visit, they're looking for something to carry back to children or grandchildren to connect them to Grenada.
Right.
And that's the perfect thing. Nutmeg
thank you.
Princess. So
Amen. Thank
there you go.
you.
#1.
Okay.
This one, it came out 5 years ago, Force Right by Cindy McKinsey. And many books, when they come out, they might sell a few copies for a while, and then it kind of gets quiet. This one has consistently continued to sell, been on our bestseller list. And so a lot of credit goes to Cindy, not only for the good job she did writing,
Excellent book.
but
yeah.
she continued to promote it and, to raise the interest. Now, it's written as a novel, but of course she will say it was based on real events. But she didn't write it as a memoir, but from the real events more as a novel. I think so that people can identify and connect with it, that it could relate to other people's experience as well.
Right, right.
Right. And something new,
Whoa.
Grenada Heritage, a pictorial journey through place and time. There you go. Now, this is done by the Grenada National Trust, and they collaborated with John Angus Martin, who wrote the text, and Angus Thompson, who provided the pictures and the photography. Wow, beautiful. But it's entirely a Grenada production, and it is one of those things that it's like you must have this book because it so well encapsulates and represents the beauty of what Grenada is. So he takes a tour around the parishes and, of course, ends up in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Right. So I say new because it came out this year.
Okay, right.
Right, right.
Wonderful book, beautiful.
And then this one also came out this year. It is written by Laurie Lambert, who is the daughter of Lawrence Lambert,
Okay.
who used to be the manager at Flamboyant and
Just
passed
passed
this
away,
year.
yeah.
Right, yes. But she is an assistant professor of African and African American studies at Fordham University in the USA. And the book she wrote is entitled Comrade Sister. And just in a nutshell, what she's writing about, she's saying, you know, so much that was good about the revolution, so much that was positive and productive about the revolution was because of women and how much they were involved and how much they did. But they received very little recognition. And really that's what this book is about, Comrade Sister. And then the cover art was done by Susan Maines, my wife, in collaboration with her. So that also new this year, yes.
Is there anything, anything else you'd like to?
Well, those are the main things I want to feature. Of
Right.
course, we have the books by Bernard Cord, and I know people have strong opinions when you mention
But it's
Bernard
great.
Cord.
It's all about the history of Grenada.
Right, but the fact is, if you want to know what he's saying on the subject,
right.
well, he has shared it. So those are available as well. The one thing I'll say that I really regret is that we don't have in print a complete history of Grenada again. You know, 2 histories were written, one by George Brazan,
Right.
one by Beverly Steele. They're both out of print.
Whoa.
People are always asking for it, and the fact is they probably won't be reprinted.
Have you contacted Beverly and?
Oh yeah, she tried, but she eventually gave up because, you know, the publisher that had printed it had rights to certain parts of the book.
Oh God.
And the publisher was not willing to reprint. And she couldn't just go and take it and reprint on her own just like that.
Right.
And so this is a problem. It would be very, very good if somehow we could get back in print a complete history of Grenada.
Right,
yes.
right, yeah. So tell us where Art and Sold is.
Yes, Art and Soul Bookstore right in the middle of Spiceland Mall.
Yeah.
Here in Grand Anse. And as I say, we also do a lot of special orders because, you know, we can't carry everything. But again, the whole idea is that you're living in Grenada. Sometimes it's hard to get things one, piece.
Right.
But we try to make it possible
Right,
to
right.
put the customer together with the book that they want to get. Right, yes.
So ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. Art and Soul right here at the mall. And it's an incredible bookstore. And is it the only bookstore in Grenada?
Well, no,
Is there another one?
You have the bookstores in town, but they mainly deal with school books.
School books, right, yeah.
And so to carry the wide range.
Right.
Yes.
So get out there and read. Thank you so much, Mr. May. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. We'll be coming up now with another wonderful author. And now I can take this off because I'm 6 feet away, okay? Let's see who we have coming up next. I have Maureen St. Clair, and she wrote a book called Big Island Small. Ladies and gentlemen, friends out there, please welcome Miss St. Clair. Hey, welcome, Bunks. Over there. Okay, yeah. So, Maureen, so welcome. Welcome. How are you doing? Yes? You put a little closer, I think. Right? Is the mic on?
Hello? Yep.
Oh, great. Wonderful. So, how is your day so far?
Yeah, great. I'm honored to be here and honored. I wasn't planning to be here on stage, but
It's a pleasure.
It's such a blessing to be
It's a
here.
pleasure to us,
Yeah.
having you here. It's really,
Thank
really
you.
wonderful, especially I'm all in the support of writers and
Yeah.
arts, So anytime I can get an opportunity to talk with an author, it's always a great pleasure to me,
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I've been living in Grenada for almost 30 years now.
Okay, great.
married-
Where are you from, sorry?
I'm originally from Canada.
From Canada. Oh, yay,
So I know
Canada.
we have that connection.
Yeah.
And mutual friends.
Yeah, that's
Sherry,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
So married into the culture, married into the community. I'm living and raised my daughter in Hartford Village in St. Andrews.
Okay.
And so a big shout out to Hartford Village because
Yeah.
they've been a great foundation for me in the stories that I write that have been shared with me and have been woven and incorporated into some of my writings and into this book in particular.
Right.
Yeah.
Since the festival is about folk tales,
Yeah.
what kind of folk tales you grew up with in Canada?
In Canada.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think.
Oh man,
I know.
that's terrible.
Isn't that
That's a
terrible?
nice thing about Grenada, man. We're filled with folk tales.
Yeah, I know.
What-
And my daughter grew up on your books.
That's
So it was, just to have that. And
Canada has. I mean,
Canada,
it's
when
my
I-
second home, but
I know. Can you think? When I think of our culture, I don't think of it as rich as Grenada and as the Caribbean that bring
Yes, and-
folklore and teach folklore and
right.
Yeah.
I think you'll get more from the first peoples.
from the
native,
indigenous folks.
the indigenous
and-
folks. You get more storytellings
which
and
is
stories from them because Canada is again is such a multicultural
Such a
country.
multicultural, yeah.
So everybody comes from different parts of the world and
Yeah.
ends up in Canada with their stories.
Yes.
So
and
re-
it says a bit about in terms of white culture, like growing up
Yes.
and being bombarded, like you said, around TV and consumerism. And I grew up on TV.
Right,
And
right.
it wasn't until, I was a writer since I was young,
Okay.
found my voice in journal writing, and then was exposed to some amazing books
Okay.
and read to.
Wonderful.
And then I came to Grenada when I was 22. And
you never went back.
And I never went back. Well, I come and go.
We
I
have
come and
that effect on people,
I know.
the
Yeah,
Isle of Spice.
I know. And just really diving in my feet into the soil
Yes.
and raising a daughter that was born here.
Yes.
So I feel I often say that politically, spiritually, socially, I've grown up in Grenada because
Yes.
it's such a rich history and a rich culture
yes, yeah.
and it's in a very small area, so it's been
Because I always believe, especially as a kid growing up, the first 7 years of a child's life is so important. Because that's when you pass on things, the parents pass on things to young children. So that foundation is so important. And I left to go to Canada at a very young age to study theater. I left here, I was 19, I was 19 years old. But my first 17 years in the country it's such a foundation that it just cannot leave me, no matter how many spending 30, 40 years outside of Grenada, that part of me and everything I do still reflects my foundation,
Yeah.
So foundations are very, very important. That's why I keep telling people to pass on things to your children and involve them in your culture. It's very important, So this book, what got you into writing it?
So again, from the stories here in Grenada, learning from my partner, my husband, and my daughter, and raising a young girl who. So the book is based loosely around my daughter, and it's fiction, so it's not. But some of the stories, but being a fair-skinned black woman.
I like that. Yeah.
And it's about two women, and it's a relationship between two women, and it's Big Island, Small Island, and Small Island is fictionally Grenada, and Big Island is fictionally Canada, known as Turtle Island, as you talk about the indigenous folks, and that's
Right.
North America, and it's between these two women who meet on Big Island, but like you just said, they both were born on Small Island, and so carry so much of their culture, so much of their very beings on Big Island, and then they meet, and they
Okay.
recognize that they're from the same small island. And one is a fair-skinned woman, Caribbean woman, and one is a black-skinned Caribbean woman. And it really is looking at the differences in terms of class, in terms of race, in terms of sexuality. And they come together and they have to figure out so much of themselves being from small island. And they've also both have been sexually abused. So they're trying to figure out their own perceptions based on class, based on the privileges that they have. So it's quite a story in terms of like just trying to unpack and dismantle all these different biases and judgments and that they both carry.
Right. How long did it take you to write the book?
Around 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah, it took a while.
Lots.
And it in Canada, it won 2 awards. It won the Atlantic Writers Award.
Okay, great.
And then it won the Social Justice, the Beacon Award for Social Justice.
Oh, wonderful.
Both out of Nova Scotia.
Right.
Yeah. So
So are you going to read something? Of course, you know.
Yeah.
Take your time.
okay, thank you.
That's.
So I thought I'd give you
I love the name,
Big Island Small.
Big Island,
Yeah.
Small Island. Yeah.
And some people think Carriacou and Grenada, but it's because the indigenous folks called Turtle Island as North America. So it
Okay.
really came out of the Big Island being
Right.
North America
Right.
and Small Island being Grenada. But again, it's fictional.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought I'd give you a piece of Judith, because it's what happens in the book is it goes between Judith, Sola, Judith.
Keep them
Sola.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
So who's Judith? Judith is
a fair-skinned black woman.
Okay.
Young woman. So they're both in their early 20s. And Sola is the black woman, and again, both coming from Small Island.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to read a little piece of Judith, and then I'll read a little piece of Sola.
Sure, yeah.
So Judith, where is she from? Where are you from? In my ears from the day I born. Small Island, I tell people over and over. Me navel string buried here. I say, just like my daddy, Fabian, teach me. I proud to claim Small Island language, the language woven from many mothers, French, Spanish, English, African. Fabian say, we Small Island people don't know who to call mother. Some claim Mother England, depending on what side of history you choose to forget. Mother England, the most wicked mother boss, the dread stepmother, the mother who forced herself on us the longest, the fiercest. And then he say, there are some of us still claiming our mother roots, our mother Africa, and some want to blame she for selling she children, but who can blame a mother when nightmare turn real and the world teething she children faster than she can hide them? I am on Fabian's side, the side of Africa. I grow up Rasta, even though I grow up Buddhist too. Mom is Buddhist. So what if my mother from Big Island? I still 100% Small Island. Dad Small Island, my auntie Small Island, my cousins and uncles Small Island, my dogs, cats, goats Small Island, things I love, mango, sapodilla, tamarind balls, guava cheese, soursop and sweet milk, coconut jelly, Johnny Bakes, sweet potato pudding, ginger beer, water blue as sapphire, caramel-colored sand, hills and valleys looped and licked with all kinds of greens, neighbors missing you even if only a day passed since they see you last, elders still expecting to be greeted, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, the hum of people's day to day soaring through open windows, everybody knows somebody who knows someone who know you, all Small Island and all part of me. I am Fabian and Pauline's daughter, born in the village, born Christmas Day with a pot of pumpkin soup on the fire, dogs barking in the yard, and Uncle Ambrose drinking rum on the back bench. Sometimes people who don't know me call me White Rasta, tourist, Indian, Chinese, coolie, half-caste, and the people who do know me call me Judith, or sometimes Judy, or Baby Ras, or Fabian's daughter, or the child born in the house on Christmas Day, or poor child who lose she mother so early. So that would be Judith.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you really captured it, especially all the food. and the village, and the way people react to you because you're different, in a way.
Yeah.
You look different because you're mixed or whatever it is. They start to call you names and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it can be sometimes a little bit troubling to young people growing up,
Yeah.
especially in North America, where they say you're half breed or you're this or you're mixed, But that's life,
Yeah.
and you still have to be proud of who you are, and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. There's no black and white anymore. It's just
no black
who
and
you are as a person.
Yeah.
That's what the world is like now,
Yeah.
Yeah. So what another?
So
another-
yeah, well, let me give you a little piece of Sola.
Yeah. Now Sola is the dark skin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and she's there. The two of them are in Canada right now, or Big Island, and they're walking to the fairgrounds, and they've just realized, I think, that they're from the same place, or they're discussing the same place and their fathers, and
Yeah.
again around skin color and shadeism and all of that. So we walk to the fairgrounds in silence until Judith says, "We're supposed to meet. It's fate. Maybe we're supposed to argue too. Who knows? Only Jah know." She doesn't see my eyes roll up. She doesn't hear the beginnings of a stoops. Instead, I ask her if her dad is black. This time, she doesn't take offense. Instead, she says he black, but he think he red. We both laugh. I can hear Dalma telling Shy, Sola takes she color from she father, as if she has to make that clear from the beginning, as though her red-brown is superior to my black-brown. You sure you didn't take much from your dad? Maybe your mom, I say. I got my nose, my eyes, my height, my hair, my walk, my build from Fabian's side. I got everything else from Mom, fair skin and all. She speaks with the curve of defeat in her shoulders. The crowd gets denser as we reach closer to the fairgrounds. The heat, a slow haze sliding across the pavement, thick air circling, maple trees in a slump, cedars exhausted with all that weight, parents wishing they could turn back to air conditioners, kids skipping along sidewalks, anticipating sticky popcorn, fast rides, and neon stuffed prizes. I want to find shade, preferably under a small island tree like a yellow pui or a skin up or any of the large mango trees in the village. I want to introduce Judith to Mikey and Ma Tay, to some of the boys on the block like Frankie, Billy, and the rest of the crew. I want her to meet Samuel so they can laugh at the hypocrisies of Big Island. Samuel, who was beat up so bad on Big Island they had to send him home to catch up his memory so he could unscramble the part of his brain kicked by two men who found him and his lover in an alley behind a club. I loved Samuel. I didn't care what he was up to behind bushes or who he loved or how he chose to spend his time up the road, which was usually on the other end of a skipping rope, laughing and telling us girls to keep jumping and why you stop. When Samuel demonstrated he was as graceful as a Spanish dancer, we girls squealed with delight and begged him to show us more moves underneath that giant wave of a rope. I want to take Judith to school and let Mr. Jessamy question her ancestors. I even want Thompson to meet her so he can make some kind of inappropriate comment like, Sola, you're making friends with hippies now. I want Judith to come with me down by the river. I'll lead her through the hole in the bush by the side of Mr. Lloyd's shop. Tell her to watch out for the mango roots. Watch her expression when she first glimpses the ancient stones, the hauntingly beautiful faces peering from boulders, sitting half in, half out of the water, the primordial people keeping watch, protecting sacred grounds.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you, Maureen.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Maureen St. Clair.
Yeah.
But before you go, I should have asked all writers that. Tell us, you said it took you 3 years to write your book,
Yeah.
right? Some people it takes 5, 8, 2, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How many rewrites did you do?
A lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Hundreds. So,
Yeah,
so
a
I want to tell young people that, sometimes you want to write a book and you do not want to do rewrites. You can't just write one script and say that's it, So it takes time and you have to rewrite and you have somebody you trust you can talk to and say, this is my idea, what do you think of it, etc., etc. So please do not think because you want to be a writer, don't get discouraged because you just write one book, one manuscript and feel that's it. You
Yeah.
have to go back to it and do rewrites
Yeah.
and watch the characters and check the scenes out. So it's not easy, but if you love it, it's easy.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you, Maureen.
I just
Yeah.
also want to give, in terms
Yeah.
of being inclusive with all stories here in Grenada, and I just want to, I really feel passionate about the two characters in this book who are exploring their own sexuality and intimacy. And again, I just feel so passionate about being inclusive of all stories. So this
Right.
would be the story around, like, there's pieces of it around LGBTQ, that are very important in there, and that, how do we include not just some stories, but everybody's
Exactly.
story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One.
So,
Is it in Art and Soul?
No. Yeah.
You got to get into Art and Soul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's a bit of controversy there because, because of that. So,
Okay.
But that's okay. But you can.
That's what it's all about. That's what a festival is about.
Yeah. And you can order it, I think, from them, but they don't have it on the shelves.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you,
Okay,
thank
it's a
you,
pleasure.
thank you. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. We'll be right back. Enjoy.
We've been apart for a short while, but now the time has come when you can join us again in our little slice of paradise. Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique has always provided a relaxing, rejuvenating, and authentic experience, and that hasn't changed. You can look forward to the same amazing experience while we strengthen our already high health protocols to give you peace of mind while you are with us. So come visit us. We await you with open hearts and spirits, filled with that warm, unique Grenadian hospitality. Rediscover an island filled with adventure, charm, and magic. Pure Grenada, just for you.
COVID-19 is a serious health threat. When you touch things like gas pumps, door handles, or someone else's cell phone, you can spread the virus, even if you don't have symptoms. Don't put lives at risk. Wash your hands. Stay 2 meters apart. That's a distance of 2 arms lengths. And if you're sick, stay home to save lives.
We've been apart for a short while, but now the time has come when you can join us again in our little slice of paradise. Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique has always provided a relaxing, rejuvenating, and authentic experience, and that hasn't changed. You can look forward to the same amazing experience while we strengthen our already high health protocols to give you peace of mind while you are with us. So come visit us. We await you with open hearts and spirits, filled with that warm, unique Grenadian hospitality. Rediscover an island filled with adventure, charm, and magic. Pure Grenada, just for you.
We are so very pleased and excited to launch this campaign today. So this campaign came out of a brainstorming session between the marketing and communications departments at GTA. It was several ideas that were built up upon each other, and the main underlying themes are our beautiful, uncrowded islands, and of course, how hard we have all worked as a nation to implement and practice new health and safety protocols designed to keep us all safe. The aim of this campaign, above all, is to showcase Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique as a safe destination. that puts the health of its population and its visitors first. We are very keen to show the world that we are ready to receive.
Welcome back to Aunty Tech's Spiceword Festival. A little shout out to Shermer. I know you're watching. Hey, and all the authors and friends and who are watching around the world and regionally and right here. Wonderful audience. It's really a nice audience, and I can see everybody's really enjoying it. So I'm happy about that. I just, we hardly hear about children's authors in Grenada, just a few, and unfortunately, we couldn't get children's authors to come today because a lot of them, they're working and stuff like that. So what I decided to do was, some of them, I like to just promote some of their books for them, the ones who couldn't come. And there was a wonderful program 2 years ago called Room to Read, where it was started by the Grenada Schools Incorporation. And it's where we got 6 illustrators and 6 writers, young writers, to write children's books, and we put out a call outside and asking writers who are interested in writing for children and illustrators, and we got a really wonderful amount of illustrators and writers coming in, and out of those we gave them a workshop, a 2-week workshop, and out of the workshop came books written by Grenadians, illustrated by Grenadians, stories about Grenadians set in Grenada. And that's the wonderful thing about Room to Read by the Grenada Schools Incorporated. So one of the books, I'm going to read a few of them. This is called The Lord of the Rings, of the Leaves, sorry. The Lord of the Rings is a movie. And it's written by and illustrated. I have to tell you that. This is a Grenadian author and illustrator of her own book, which is fantastic. And it's Jamila Francis. And it's a story, this is for the kids. It's very important to have that around because they are the future. And this is written for 3 to 4 year olds. And it's called The Lord of the Leaves. And it's about a little lizard. Yes. Get ready, kiddies. Here it comes. The little lizard liked to watch birds. He called them the lords of the sky. See? But the lizard was afraid of birds. He was afraid they would eat him. Ooh, yeah. One day, a bird landed in the tree. "Hi," said the bird. "Who are you?" "I do not have a name," the lizard said, "but you are the Lord of the sky." See? Look at the big bird eye. Let's play a game.